Welcome back. I am going to criticize the President of the United States, and again, for our friends who watch all our videos, this criticism is on the basis of policy. The taxes that are implicit in the new budget from the President, the budget that was defeated unanimously in both the House and the Senate, and if you'll notice now, the Senate has not passed a budget in over 1,100 days. It's 3 years running, no budget. You might think that when your primary constitutional duty is to pass a budget, you couldn't do nothing on that for 3 years. As a college professor, if I didn't show up to teach classes for 3 years, I might get in trouble. The dean might call me in to visit. You know, we might have to have a few words about my job description. But the Senate, no budget, 3 years. Each of President Obama's budgets have been dead on arrival. Even in the 2 years when the Senate and the House were democratically controlled, his budget was dead on arrival. His newest budget, and this is a critique, I invite you to refer to the article in today's Wall Street Journal, and the title is Obama's Budget Means a Tax Increase on Everyone. And this is written by Dr. Hubbard, who is the dean of the Columbia Business School. He was chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors under President George W. Bush, and he's also an economic advisor to current Republican candidate Mitt Romney. And he's gone through and looked at every part of the president's proposed budget, which was unanimously defeated in the House and the Senate. And he's found that to have that go through, you would have to immediately raise taxes on every single American taxpayer. And because we have a progressive tax, the amount of increase would vary by income. But for those earning less than $200,000, Obama's primary campaign promise, I'm not going to raise taxes on anybody making under $200,000. And by the way, that's false, because he immediately raised the tax on cigarettes, and the bottom quintile of income earners, the poorest 20% of America, smoke disproportionately more than any other quintile, and the S-chip program was funded by increasing tobacco taxes, so he immediately taxed them. But this budget means that he's got to increase the taxation on all members of the economy who pay federal income tax immediately by 11% for those under $200,000. Now keep in mind, 50% of households don't pay any federal income tax, zero, okay? So we've got to look at his budget not just as a theoretical statement. The budget, and for all of those who took strategic management, you know this, the budget is the operational statement of mission. Well, the budget is a set of priorities that the president put out. In order to fund those priorities, not pass ever cascading debt onto our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, we immediately have to raise taxes 11%. That's what this budget actually means, and that's why the Senate and the House unanimously, not a single senator, not a single member of the House, Republican or Democrat, on either side of the aisle voted for this budget, not one. So what does that mean? It means that Mr. Obama is almost incapable of making a realistic proposal that would have a policy impact. Now, I want to relate this to a very personal story. My friend Kwan, who immigrated to America under the paw, under the foot, under the club of communism, left South Vietnam when it fell and came to this country to seek freedom, okay? My friend Kwan told me a very gripping story the other day, and the heart of the story was that people in South Vietnam ate dog, and they kept dogs as pets, and they ate them. But his family made the choice. They made the moral decision not to eat dog. And there are half dozen other dishes that he described which didn't sound all that good. One was hardened duck blood. You know, they'd bleed out the duck, put it in a bowl, let it dry out, and they'd eat the hardened blood. He made the decision not to eat that either. Yesterday, on the news was this story again, which I think is pretty much a canard. You know, Mitt Romney's not qualified to be president because he put his dog on top of the car in a carrier. Now, unlike the great vacation movie with Chevy Chase, they didn't leave the dog tied to the bumper and drag him to death. They just had him up on top of the car so he could get a breeze. And this is supposed to be clear proof that Mr. Romney's not qualified to be president, but our president then admits what? well, you know, when I was in Malaysia, I ate dog, you know, but it was just in the pot. I didn't have any choice. I didn't know. My friend Kwan tells me you always have a choice, and he grew up in an oppressive regime, no food, no opportunity, no freedom, and the difference between eating dog and going hungry was an easy choice for him. He went hungry. So when Mr. Obama says, I didn't know, or when his apologists say I didn't know, it is one more example of how everybody in the Obama campaign is trying to villainize Mr. Romney in a way that's wholly inappropriate. And the most recent and most offensive to me privately, personally, is this anti-Mormon prejudice that has erupted on the left. And there are a number of people, I'm not going to do them the service of mentioning their names, but there are a number of people on the mainstream, quote unquote, news media that have acted as if Mr. Romney is outside the mainstream. Well, they accuse Mr. Romney's family, 4 generations, 5 generations back, of practicing polygamy, and they think this is really going to stick. Unfortunately, of course, 3 generations back, 2 generations back, Mr. Obama's family are polygamists. Now, well, technically his dad's a bigamist. He just married a bunch of women without divorcing any of them. So I think there's a real mistake being made here. And again, this isn't about race. It's not about gender. It's not about ethnicity. It's not about country of national origin. This is about policy. The reason to be opposed to President Obama is the 11% tax increase that will cost to cover what he wants to do. If you want to argue about dog, he ate dog, Romney just carried the dog. God bless you. God bless the United States. Good luck.